Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. Have you ever wondered if it's possible to have a career that you love, but also one that aligns with the life that you dream of living? Let me tell you, it is, and that is exactly what I'm here to show you. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Career Cravings Podcast. I'm your host, Irina Pozan, career coach and HR expert. So in this episode, I'm going to be sharing why this podcast is so close to my heart, what you can expect in future episodes, and also how you can take action today on your biggest career goals. All right, so let's talk about why I'm even doing this. So literally all of last year, all of 2024, this podcast was a huge dream, and I kept going back and forth. I kept thinking about how it would fit into all of the other things that I have on the go, all of the other projects I have planned, serving my clients. And also I was just stuck on what I would talk about. And what I had realized was that this feeling kept coming up, and I was craving more than just these quick 30-second videos that I share on LinkedIn and Instagram, because I want to go so much deeper. I want to be able to share actionable tools and strategies that will actually change your life and your career. So over the holidays, I took out a piece of paper and I thought, okay, let's break this down. What are the topics that I don't have the opportunity to go as deep as I want? And what had happened was 30 ideas just flooded out of me. I wrote down so many items. I filled pages and pages and pages in my journal of all of the strategies that I want to share, all the things that I don't have the opportunity to share on stories or those quick videos that I've been sharing over the last 18 months. And I knew that I had to share them with you. That night, I decided to do this and commit to the podcast and commit to this being the big project of 2025. I just felt so free and felt so aligned, and I knew this was the right step. I know this is the forum where I can go so much deeper and help you make actionable changes within your life. So this podcast is not just another place for career tips. This is where your passion meets purpose. So I'm here to help you create a fulfilling career and life, because I know that careers are one huge element of your life. So you can love all of the other aspects of your life. You can have an incredible family, the social circle. You could be in the best health of your life. And that's all amazing. But if you don't feel fulfilled in your day-to-day career, that is going to weigh on you. And I have been there before. What I know for sure is that life is way too short to spend over 40 hours a week in a job that doesn't excite you. And I've been there. So I have felt stuck in my own career. There have been so many times where I was craving more, and I was wondering if I could do it. I was questioning my own abilities, and I was also wondering if there was a way where I can do something more meaningful. I believe that you can design a life that is beyond your wildest dreams, and your career is just the beginning. So if you know me well, you know that I'm obsessed with personal development, and that is a huge element of this podcast. We're going to be diving into goal setting, career strategies, of course, resume and interview tips, but also overcoming mindset blocks, imposter syndrome. This podcast will be full of actionable and practical tips that you can take week by week to get to the next level in your career and also your life. So if this sounds aligned with what you are craving, I don't want you to miss an episode. So please take a moment and subscribe to the Career Cravings podcast so that you don't miss any of the episodes that are going to drop every single Tuesday. And before we dive into the content of this week's episode, I have a gift for you in the show notes. It is my free masterclass. So if you're sitting here and you're like, I want to take action right now on landing my next role, I want so much more on resume tips, interview tips, and really everything in between to fast track your search. Amazing. You can literally swipe up in the show notes and get access instantly to my free masterclass. So I'm so excited to dive in with you. Let's dive in. Okay, so what if I told you that your dream career is so much closer than you think, and the only thing standing in your way is actually just taking the first step? Let me share a little bit more on my career journey to give you context on where I am coming from and why I am so passionate about this. So my career started 15 years ago as an HR administrator, and seriously, I remember getting that offer because it was such a competitive time. I heard so many of my other fellow students in the class were struggling to land roles. And I knew people that also graduated ahead of me that were struggling. So I knew this was really important. And I prioritized it even over my exams. And I was like, I need to land a role like as soon as I graduate. And that was my biggest goal. And I did that. So when I actually got that offer, let me just tell you, it was not a glamorous role. Okay. It was in a manufacturing environment. I had an incredible boss. She was so kind and she showed me so many things. I learned so much from her. And it was an incredible learning experience. I ended up staying with this company for 5 years in a number of roles. I was promoted and that was amazing. But after 5 years, I felt like something was missing. So maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you've had that feeling before, but I just knew I wanted more. This was a mid-sized organization, and I knew I wanted to join a company that was huge, that everyone knew the brand. I wanted to learn from the best practices they had. I wanted a leadership role. I really wanted to step into that next level version of myself, and I made that my goal. And I landed an interview with one of Canada's largest top organizations, an incredible place to work. And when I landed that interview, I remember just being shocked. I later learned they had like over 300 applicants for that role. I had no leadership experience at that time. I had 5 years of working experience, but I had that drive and like this was my mission. So I remember I had to do a presentation to a panel for that interview, and I went in so excited, so ready, and it was great. I felt like it was conversational. I felt like I'd made connections during that interview, and very quickly I got an offer. And I remember just feeling a huge sense of imposter syndrome, like, why me? Why me? And I went into that opportunity driving to work. I'm not kidding, every day with a smile from here to here in my car and like dancing like a complete idiot, like so excited. Gave me exactly what I was craving at that time. I would have never thought to leave. I remember my friend, she's like, well, how long are you going to stay there? And this is someone I really respected. And I was like, forever? Like, this is amazing. I remember just being so excited to be there. They really valued career pathing employees. And a year later, I was approached for a promotion to senior manager that truthfully, if it had come up, I would have never applied for it because I would have thought I'm not ready. I'm still loving this role. I'm still learning and growing in this role. And I didn't feel like I was missing anything, but I was approached with this amazing opportunity, and I ended up taking it ultimately and staying another 5 years at that organization. The same thing happened where I just knew I was missing more, and I took a step back and I reflected again. And what came to me was, okay, I at this point had a ton of HR experience, but I wanted to niche down into something that I just loved. And I knew that thing was talent management. I wanted to spend 100% of my days coaching people to get to the next level of their career. And the talent side and working with high potentials and designing career programs, I knew that that's what I was craving and that's what I needed and wanted. So what ultimately happened was internally, I had looked for that role, but I knew there was only one director of talent role. So it was going to be extremely unlikely that I get it in the near future. So I decided to leave my dream organization. I went external for a director of talent management and recruitment role, which let me tell you, it's like history repeats itself. That was my absolute dream job in that era. I got to actually spend my days working with high potentials, designing the first ever high potential program, taking what I learned from the last organization and applying it, and designing leadership development training that didn't exist before. And it was everything that I had been craving, everything that I had been looking for. And in my career, when I reflect back, I've had such incredible opportunities to teach recruiters how to recruit, how to build hiring processes, how to design career paths, how to guide people in their careers, all while navigating my own career. And eventually, I made the decision to also quit my dream job, start my own coaching business, which I run today. That was the best decision I've ever made. Land roles that are aligned with their passions in record time. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned throughout my own career is that as we grow, so do our dreams. And if you are not growing and expanding and your dreams don't change from 1 year to 5 years to 10 years into your career, if you're not growing, you are decaying. And that is a fact of life. So I have had a number of roles that I've considered dream roles for that specific era in my life. And from job to job, from the first HR manager role to the director role, I know that as we evolve, what we want changes, and that is okay. It is our mission to listen to that, to reflect, to step back, to understand what we truly want next, and not to spend our days in the mundane to-do list of the minutia of our current role. We owe it to ourselves to zoom out, to take a step back, and to follow our dreams. So fast forward a few years, here I am, I'm running my own career coaching business, and it took off faster than I ever thought possible. And now I'm helping clients land roles that are also aligned with their passions. So recently I was on another podcast. It's the HR Stories podcast by my friend Andrew. And he asked me a really great question, which was, what is your why? And when I reflect back on this, my why has stayed consistent. It's always been to help people to get to the next level in their careers. But the way in which I got to do that has changed. So it's the same reason I got into HR, and it's still the reason I'm creating this podcast today. But one day, the why got super freaking clear to me. So one day, completely out of the blue, I received a call and was diagnosed with cancer. And everything shifted. It was a wake-up call for me. And although I've taken many steps in my life to reflect and to think about what I wanted next, it made me more brave than ever. I had realized how short life is in one instant. I also realized how precious it is to be doing work that truly lights you up, because all of our time is limited. And that's not really something that we think about in our 20s and our 30s, right? So once I found out that I was in perfect health, I was cancer-free after a few surgeries, I actually ended up going to the spa for my birthday and reflecting for 8 hours in just meditation. And I thought about everything. I thought about what makes me happy, what I want to do more of, what a dream day looks like in my life, what I no longer have time for, what I will no longer prioritize. So I left a job that was once my dream role to follow my purpose and to help people like you to align to their biggest purpose and to land careers that are aligned with who they truly are. And where I am today is now more aligned with every sense of my being. Like every single day, I get to work on things that I am so obsessed with. And that brings me here. So all of these experiences and my whole career in corporate HR have helped me to gain the skills that can help you land your role as soon as possible. And that is why I'm here. There are no mistakes in life. Everything happens for a reason. And I know those experiences, good and bad, have led me here. And there is also no mistake that you are listening to this today. So if there is one thing that I want you to take away from today's episode, it's this. Your dreams will evolve and they will grow, and that is normal. It is key to listen to your inner voice and reflect on what you truly want out of your life. You only get one. Also, I want you to know that you are more ready than you think for that next step. And I don't want you to wait to do what you love until later, because what I know for sure is that later may not come. And I had done this so many times in my own career. And that's one of the biggest regrets that I actually have, is to say, maybe I'm not ready for the director role yet. Maybe I'll keep waiting. Or what if I had thought I wasn't ready for that leadership role that I ultimately got? That was also a foundational chapter in my career. And if I had waited for the perfect time, I would still be waiting. So instead, trust your own intuition. You know inside of you the steps that you need to take to get to the career and to the life that you are seeking. So whether you are here listening to this and feeling stuck, or maybe you're doubting your qualifications, or maybe you're even unsure of what your dream role looks like or what the next move should be, the truth is that you are capable far more than you realize. And when I started my business, when I think back to that moment, it was scary. I mean, I was leaving behind an incredible career that I thought I would spend the rest of my life in. And I had an incredible boss. I had incredible benefits, a great salary, a role that I felt like I had designed from scratch. But I still knew I craved something else and I had a bigger mission out there. But I dove in head first. I was scared. I took action anyway, and it took off faster than I could have imagined. And that decision changed my life. So let me ask you, what is the one thing that you can do today to get closer to that dream career? Maybe it's taking a step back and redoing your resume, sending out a networking DM, connecting with someone, sharing your aspirations with someone at dinner tonight. Or maybe it's signing up for my free masterclass to show you exactly the steps that you need to update your resume and the interview skills that you will need to land your next role as quickly and painlessly as possible. So I have an action step for you. I want you to pause. I want you to write down whatever is coming to your mind right now as I asked you those questions. I also want you to write down the one action step that you will take today to get closer to your dreams. And I'll tell you that if I thought too much about starting my own business, leaving behind my career, I probably wouldn't have taken action. It was too big. It was too scary. I also spoke to people that I really admired during this era of reflection. And I told multiple people that I was going to quit my job, start this business. And they all were like, hold up, Irina, like you had just gone through something really big. Like, why don't you start smaller? And I'm so glad I didn't listen to any of that, because I was right, because I had listened to myself internally and I knew the right next step for me. If I took time to actually think about, well, most businesses fail in the first year. Am I ready yet? Will this work? Maybe it won't. Maybe no one will care. I took the big action, and within 1 month, it had exceeded the goals that I had for the next 3 months in starting my business. So I want you to be the person that takes action on their dreams too. Take action on the goals that you set for yourself, no matter how small they are. Do things that you say you are going to do. The only difference between someone who takes action on their goals and someone who doesn't is the belief that it is possible for you. You are going to be so much more willing to take consistent action when you continuously prove to yourself that you can. You have to believe that you can do it. And if you are lacking that self-belief right now, build trust in yourself through the follow-through. Make an action step today and then do it, no matter how small. Each time I landed my next role, it started with the decision. I didn't know if I could. It started with the decision. Next, I went to my resume. Next, I went to my network. And I made it happen. I took the action and then I followed through on what I said that I would do. So I know that you probably have set career goals before and maybe they didn't happen. And maybe that hurt. There have been, before COVID, I made the goal to move into a director of talent role. And before it happened, it didn't. I had been rejected for multiple opportunities. I could have let that stop me or let that be a sign that maybe I wasn't ready yet. But the right role came at the right time, and just have trust that when you have that vision for yourself, when you know that it's going to happen for you, everything happens for a reason. And that rejection could be the redirection that you needed to get into the right opportunity. So if you have been someone who has set a goal in the past, maybe you set a career goal, maybe you're like, okay, I want to land my next role in the next 3 months because I know I'm ready for more, or I'm in a toxic environment, or maybe you were laid off and maybe you set that goal and it didn't happen. Maybe your goal was to land a role last year, and here we are in Q1. And if that was the case, I've personally been there. I want you to ask yourself, why? Was it your resume? Were you burnt out? Did you stop believing that it was even possible? Because you set that goal for a reason. And if you didn't achieve it, I know that it can be discouraging, and I get that. So I have some action steps for you. Here's another action step for you. I want you to think about your career goals, and then I want you to ask why. If it's moving into a new role, getting promoted, leaving a toxic organization, moving into a larger organization, whatever that looks like, I want you to ask yourself why and how important is that to you? And then I want you to set that goal, and I want you to be the person who relentlessly is going to pursue it, and it won't fall into your lap. So goals are not attained by people who don't take that consistent action. So I want you to declare it. I want you to get clear on it. And then I want you to take one small action today. And you don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just have to take the first step, and I'll be here to guide you every single step of the way. All right. So here is what's coming up next. In the upcoming episodes, we are going to dive into actionable job search strategies, mindset shifts, resume tips, interview tips, LinkedIn hacks, so much more. And I'll be giving you the tools that you can apply to start moving forward with the intention and the career goals that you have for yourself for this year. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes that I'm launching every single Tuesday. And I want to thank you so much for being here and tuning in to the very first episode of Career Cravings Podcast. And if you've stayed this long, I appreciate you so much more than you will ever know. And if you've enjoyed this episode, I would love your support. Leave a review for the podcast wherever you are listening. It helps me continue to bring you the best tips, strategies, and inspiration for your job search. And here's the exciting part. I am hosting a special giveaway. So anyone who leaves me a review anywhere on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you are listening, by April 1st, will be entered in to win a free career coaching session with me. and it will be fully one-on-one, and you can use it for anything you want. So you can use it for us to go through your resume, preparing for a dream interview you have coming, maybe creating a plan for your promotion and how to approach your boss with that. So all you have to do is leave the review and then screenshot it and send it to me. So you can send it to me in my DMs on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or even email me. All of my contacts are listed in the show notes. You just have to swipe up. And I just want to thank you so much for being here and for helping this podcast grow, and see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.